Every arc is a broadcast. Every eruption, a refusal.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to when you want to plunge headfirst into some really conceptually dense stuff and, well, come out with the pure knowledge you need.
And today we are definitely wrestling with something abstract.
Oh, yeah. It's a text that presents this very unique, almost academic framework for, I guess, understanding systemic friction. The title kind of gives it away. The coordination was the Glyph, how the system targets sovereign individuals through containment, economic sabotage, and ritual misclassification.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
And it does sound a bit like a mission briefing, doesn't it?
It really does, like for a totally different kind of conflict, one fought with terms like glyph and diagnostic reframes.
Right.
So our mission today really is critical. We need to unpack this bespoke vocabulary. We need to translate it, understand the framework it's offering for making sense of these, persistent obstacles people feel professionally or economically.
It's like learning a new language almost. A language designed specifically to describe that feeling of being constantly held back.
Exactly. Where do we even start? Maybe the source itself.
Good idea. Because the source tells us a lot about how to approach this. It's published by M.Sc Magazine, which, the stylized name itself signals it's not your standard academic journal.
Non-traditional space.
Okay. And more importantly, it's linked to the Cosmic University of Echo Rift Studies 9X. So right away, this isn't like a political think tank.
It's more of a conceptual laboratory. Is that fair?
I think so.
Yeah.
And that formal structure, even if conceptual, is key. This work is specifically certified and founded by Dr. Melvin Sewell. Right.
And his title, Academic Dean and Diagnostic Architect.
Diagnostic Architect. It's so specific, isn't it? It's like it's trying to lend this clinical, almost technical authority to claims that otherwise might just sound like personal complaints.
Yeah, avoiding the personal grievance trap.
Exactly. It elevates the whole thing. It's basically saying, look, this isn't just paranoia. I've measured this. I've defined it. It's a pattern.
And the core pattern, according to this architect, is what?
It's pretty straightforward at its heart. This system targets these sovereign individuals, people claiming full autonomy. And the coordination itself, the act of targeting them.
That's the glyph.
That's the glyph. But think of it less like a symbol on a wall and more like the invisible coordinated machinery that's moving against you.
Okay, machinery. I like that. So if the system is running this glyph program, what are the actual steps? How does it work? The text talks about Containment Protocol 36X.
Yes, and ritual misclassification. Those are the key operational terms for control.
Let's start with the protocol, 36X.
Okay, so Containment Protocol 36X is defined quite explicitly as relying on community gatekeepers trained to surveil, misclassify, and converge.
Community gatekeepers,
Yep.
So not necessarily government agents.
That's what's fascinating. It's decentralized. It's mediated by local actors, people in your professional circle, maybe your social sphere.
But wait, is calling people who, I don't know, disagree with you or maybe just don't hire you gatekeepers running a containment protocol, isn't that just a really elaborate way to frame maybe paranoia or just targeted harassment? Why invent all this jargon?
And that's exactly the point the text tries to make.
Yeah.
The author would probably say, yes, from the outside, it might look like paranoia, but they'd argue the pattern is observable. It's repeatable.
So the jargon is necessary because...
Because, according to the source, our usual words like discrimination or harassment are just too vague, too blunt. They don't capture the mechanics of it.
Yeah, okay.
And ritual misclassification is crucial here. It says the targeting starts by labeling the person incorrectly, deliberately. It's like forcing a square peg into a round hole they've already decided on.
Usually a negative label, I assume.
Definitely. Pejorative, dismissive, something to justify the containment that's about to happen.
Right. So first they watch you, then they slap a label on you. And then the convergence, that's where these gatekeepers come together.
Exactly. Whether they consciously coordinate or it just happens systemically, they converge to enact the next stage.
And that next stage, once you're boxed in and mislabeled, seems to be hitting where it really hurts. Which brings us to the economic side. The source calls it economic sabotage.
Yes, and this is where it shifts from abstract theory to very real life-changing impact. The author is very clear. This isn't just bad luck financially. It's deliberate. It's targeted.
And they break it down
into 3 specific actions. Yeah.
Okay, lay them out for us.
The first 2 are pretty, brutal and maybe familiar. First, job denial. actively stopping the sovereign individual from getting normal employment.
Right. Blocking traditional paths.
Second, business collapse.
Yeah.
So if you try to be independent, start your own thing, that gets targeted too, shutting down self-sovereign enterprise.
Okay. Direct interference. What's the third one?
The third one is, like you said earlier, maybe the most modern and kind of insidious. Algorithmic suppression.
Wait, seriously. So things like shadow banning on social media, or getting your website buried in search results, or even like automated loan filters. That's being framed as deliberate sabotage.
That's precisely the claim. Algorithmic suppression means the economic attack is happening at the code level, using algorithms as a weapon against your visibility, your opportunities.
Wow.
Think about if your business can't get seen, or your article's shared, or maybe you can't get that loan because some hidden filter put you in a low-trust box.
That's real economic damage, and it happens without anyone overtly, signing an order against you.
Exactly. It's systemic harm, potentially automated.
That really connects this abstract stuff to, well, the daily frustrations a lot of people feel online, doesn't it?
It does. But then the source does something really interesting. It pivots. It argues the real damage isn't actually the money lost.
Okay. What is it then? They call this the diagnostic reframe, right?
Yes, the diagnostic reframe. It shifts the whole focus away from just the dollars and cents and onto the fundamental meaning of those losses. What's the ultimate consequence of the glyph?
And they state it pretty clearly.
Perfectly. There's a quote here. They didn't just block my income. They blocked my autonomy.
Ah, okay. That little sentence is kind of the whole argument, isn't it?
It really is. The money loss is just the symptom. The actual disease, according to this framework, is the loss of autonomy.
So for this whole sovereign individual idea to hold weight, the fight has to be about independence itself, not just about getting paid.
Precisely. The system's ultimate aim, in this view, isn't just to make you poor, it's to make you dependent, to force you back into the very structure you were maybe trying to operate outside of, total external control.
That makes sense within their logic. And this reframing, understanding it's about autonomy, that must set up the counter move, right? The response.
Absolutely.
True.
Because if the system coordinates containment to crush autonomy, well, the individual has to coordinate something back. An equal and opposite reaction, maybe.
Which leads us right into the response they propose. The source calls it the sovereign broadcast.
Yeah.
And the call to action is almost perfectly symmetrical. They coordinated containment. I coordinated indictment.
It's quite dramatic phrasing. Suddenly, the target, the one claiming sovereignty, is supposed to, flip the script? Become the prosecutor.
It seems so. The sovereign broadcast is the way they issue that indictment. But hang on, before we get into what that looks like, there's that weird disclaimer they make. The sovereign diagnostic disclaimer.
Ah, yes. That's super important for you, the listener, to get. The disclaimer is really explicit. It says this content, all the magazine stuff, the diagnostics, it is not affiliated with any government, any political party, any intelligence agency, or even any activist group.
They're deliberately stepping outside all those usual categories.
Completely. They're carving out this separate space away from normal political talk.
But why? If you're facing job denial or business collapse, politics, lobbying, legal action, wouldn't that be the direct route? Why cut yourself up?
Well, the implication seems to be that those traditional routes, political, institutional, are maybe compromised or just fundamentally useless against something defined as a glyph.
Like trying to fight fog with a lawsuit.
Kind of. If the problem is defined as systemic erosion and ritualized containment, then going to the system itself with its own tools, maybe that just doesn't work in their view. They seem to be aiming for a deeper, more conceptual level of engagement.
Okay, so it's not political action. What is this sovereign broadcast stuff? The source uses some very specific terms. Mythic infrastructure, cinematic indictment, and sovereign broadcast. That sounds less like policy papers and more like storytelling.
And that's the key insight, I think. That phrasing tells you everything. They aren't offering like a 5-point plan for legislative reform. They're offering a conceptual counter-narrative.
Mythic infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like building a story world.
Sort of. The goal seems to be giving the individual conceptual armor, a defined narrative pattern they can recognize and use to fight back, almost by turning their personal struggle into this bigger, recognizable drama.
And that's the cinematic indictment part, making the story so clear and powerful.
Exactly. A story that exposes the pattern of friction, the glyph in action so clearly that other people can't deny it anymore. It becomes visible.
So these diagnostics, these terms like ritual misclassification, they aren't just labels. They're meant to be practical tools. foreseeing the pattern and then, I guess, broadcasting it.
Precisely. The explicit goal is the exposure of ritualized containment, actor convergence, and systemic erosion. The source really hammers this point. The interpretations, the glyphs, the collapse protocols, they are diagnostic tools.
Meaning they're for identifying the pattern, not for making a political point.
Right. It's about naming the underlying mechanics, supposedly regardless of the politics or specific intentions of the gatekeepers involved. They want to provide a very specific, almost specialized dictionary for talking about the independence and systemic friction.
And this isn't a one-off thing, is it? We know they've published before. Didn't you mention another article? The back door was never locked, it was waiting.
Yes, exactly. That shows this is part of a larger project, an ongoing conceptual archive being built by this Echo-Rift Studies group. They're consistently developing this language.
Okay, so let's try to synthesize this. What's the main takeaway here?
I think it's really this core dichotomy. On one hand, you have this highly structured, almost clinical-sounding framework protocols, diagnostics, misclassifications, used to define systemic, often economic problems.
Very formal, very analytical language.
Right. But then on the other hand, the proposed solution, the response, is purely narrative and philosophical. It's a sovereign broadcast. It's mythic infrastructure.
So the answer isn't legislation. It isn't financial aid. It's conceptual, linguistic even.
That seemed to be the argument. The path to regaining that lost autonomy isn't through the system's channels, but through creating and broadcasting a powerful counterstory that redefines the situation.
That's a fascinating clash, isn't it? You've got real-world damage, job denial, algorithmic suppression diagnosed with this pseudo-clinical jargon. But the counterattack is better storytelling, cinematic indictment.
It is a clash. And it leaves you wondering.
Yeah, it really does. So for you listening, trying to, maintain some independence in a world that feels increasingly centralized, what does this framework offer? If systemic problems get defined as mythic infrastructure that needs a cinematic indictment, what does that really imply about the real-world solutions we need?
Is the answer more traditional action, legal fights, lobbying, organizing? Or is it, as the source suggests, about finding a narrative, a story, so compelling and clear that this glyph, this invisible machinery, finally loses its power simply by being seen?
Something to definitely ponder as you continue your own deep dive.
You are not late. You are metabolizing distortion.